This is your streaming halftime HSO segment with the Norm and D Invasion. This is the world's most dangerous halftime show. 28-17, Cowboys. Norm, first impressions of the first half.
Well, first of all, I was ordered to sit this close to you.
I know.
Don't feel like anything's going on
and
out
I'm going
there,
to place
okay?
my order to
Okay.
get you a little bit out the way.
Well, I think the Cowboys are comfortably uncomfortable at half. They've dominated the first half and only lead by 11. Now, there isn't any sign the Bears are going to slow down the Cowboys' offense, unless the Cowboys' offense gives the ball to the Bears' defense. But you do have a little feeling for Bears are starting to move the ball. Bears get the second half kickoff. What if the Bears even get a field goal to start the second half? A one-score game? This doesn't look anything like the potential of a 1 or 1.5 score game.
No, it doesn't. We have all the confidence in the world in this Cowboy defense, and who would think that probably at the end of this game they will score more points on the Cowboys defense than any other team has done in the season so far, especially as pass. They're pretty helpless in the passing game, it feels like. If it's not going short passes, even when they try to go long, the receivers aren't helping Justin Fields. They have to control the running game because that's pretty much all that Chicago has. But I think you're right. It just makes you feel uncomfortable that if you have 5 possessions, you have 4 touchdowns, and an unfortunate interception where I felt like CeeDee Lamb didn't go as hard for the football as he probably should have, as maybe the whole entire team would like him to do. But 5 possessions, 4 touchdowns, and an interception, and you're only up 11. They got the running game going. Dallas does, with Tony Pollard leading the way, Dak Prescott using his legs for a change. We haven't seen that in a long time, not just this season. It's been a while since we've seen design run calls for Dak, and they should feel very good about what's happening on offense. But I'd be a little worried that Chicago put a 17 spot up on in the second quarter against this defense. That's something that you definitely didn't expect.
Well, when you consider that over the last 3.5 years, the Bears have averaged offensively less than 20 points a game. 17 is almost stunning to see the Bears have that at halftime. But again, you go in, you make adjustments, you try to figure out what happened in scoring those points. But I think the big question here is, can the Bears stop Dallas? Dak, until the interception, looked like he did almost anything he wanted to.
Yeah, he was 16-19 before the interception for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then threw a pick on the last one. But you almost want Chicago to be forced to go to their passing game. That's going to be an advantage for your defense. And now that they're only up 11, they get the ball. They have their whole offense at their hands. That means they can get Justin Fields outside. He is so tough. He is a good running quarterback. If he can figure out what they need to do in the passing game, then that dude can be dangerous. Like we're watching in studio at the same time, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. It's almost like they want Justin Fields to kind of go the Jalen Hurts route. All right, we're worried about the running game, but if you can figure out how to put those balls where they need to be, then he can be truly, truly dangerous.
You know, I think the most really stat of the first half to me is, did it feel like Chicago rushed for more than 100 yards in that half?
It didn't look like
Not
it,
at all,
no.
did it?
But Justin getting out there, he has 6 carries for 42 yards, and David Montgomery has 25 yards on the ground also. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable feel, I think, because what more can Dallas do offensively than what they did in the first half?
Well,
it was almost perfect.
They get 28 more. It'd be a 56 then at the end of the game.
I think you'll be fine.
I don't think the Bears are going to get to 56.
No, I don't think so. But to have the half that they did offensively, 28 points, pretty much perfect on every drive that they have, and the Bears having 17 points is something that I don't think a lot of people expected. But we talk about this a ton on our show. There are times when the offense doesn't have to be perfect and the defense has your back. I'm not saying that the defense is not going to make the adjustments and slow down the Bears. They could easily do that. They slowed them down pretty much in the first quarter. They just got a little loose in the second quarter, especially with the turnover. But it may be one of those games where the offense has to keep churning because the defense may not be, where it needs to be. And that running game for Chicago is pretty effective. And it's one thing to know what the other team is going to do, and that's what you're focused on. It's another thing to stop it. Well, and they're running the ball again. It didn't look like it, but 21 times for 101 yards, almost 5 yards a carry. That's playing right into the Bears' hands.
Remember last year we talked about the Mavericks having 3 ball handlers?
Mm-hmm.
The Bears have 3 runners. Most teams have 2, if that. But the Bears have 3 because Fields is honestly a good runner. He has good vision. He has good instincts. You add that to Montgomery, who always seems to get an extra yard or 2 on every carry.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert, who actually is their leading rusher coming into this game. And what you don't want to get into is a situation where the Bears come out of the locker room, control the ball on the ground, and score. Because nervous then becomes real.
Yeah. Key possession for the Cowboys coming up in the second half. Bears get the second half kickoff. 7 different receivers for Dak Prescott. 4 different players have at least one rush for the Cowboys. It's very well balanced on offense. The best performance we've seen them have on offense this year, hands down by far. And they're going to need a little more of that in the second half to take down a game Bears team. This team, after the first quarter where they really couldn't get anything going, put up 17 points in the second, and I don't think anyone expected that.
In a funny way, this Bears team reminds me of the Detroit team, except they're totally flipped over. The Bears supposedly have a pretty good defense, can't move the ball offensively, just the opposite of Detroit. But they're pretty game. They're pretty darn game. I mean, they bounced off a horrible loss last week to beat up New England, and here they had every right to run up the white flag in the second quarter of this game. Down 21 on the road to Dallas. Say goodnight, nurse. Well, let's just wait a minute before we say goodnight in this one.
All right, that's Norm. Donovan will be a part of the postgame show along with David Mino. We're going to have some hot HSOs. Norm is going to get about 17 bacon-wrapped shrimp at halftime, and we'll be all ready and ready to go. Thank you so much for watching this, and tune in to the post-game show after